Alright, of course we're going to be playing Branded Despia in the Dark event. Now don't worry about lack of Lubellion. We don't need Lubellion. Don't worry about the fact that we can't make Albion at all. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about the fact that Brand Fusion is at 1, and for some reason Patchwork is a 1. I don't know what they were trying to hit with this. Like this was, I don't really get this part, but you can still do lines where you just end on the exact same board as you do in Standard Branded Despia. And in fact, experienced Despia players should already know what they are, considering we have Branded High Spirits in the deck. And in a format where we don't have access to Branded Fusion targets except for in Rinbrum, and Rinbrum's not even that useful because we don't have Bystios to banish Mercurier. So Branded Fusion is actually a relatively low impact spell for this deck, which is I know it's like weird to say about Branded Fusion being not the best card in the deck, but the best card in the deck is Branded High Spirits. The combo line where you circumvent activating Branded Fusion and you instead go through Verte with Branded High Spirits, that is your bread and butter play for going first this event. And don't worry if you haven't seen my video on how that works. I'm going to show you the combo line directly later in this video. But let's go over the deck list. And okay, as soon as I say that, I caught a glaring mistake. I misclicked. This is not 3 ad libum. This is 3 Alp. Well, whoopsie. Don't. All right. So deck list. There's not many hand taps available. We probably don't even need that many hand taps. I'm gonna be perfectly honest. We can go all in on engine. So because of that, running the triple Despian Tragedy. So that combos with Allure of Darkness, makes the allures really good, makes the Poly give you an extra target, and just to fuse Tragedy out of your hand to start your plays to add Alibur if you don't have Alibur. Double Edgem Chain because without just one Patchwork now and without Lubellion to freely discard Edgem Chain, it's becomes dead in your hand more often. Although funnily enough, Branded High Spirits can dump Edgem Chain in a pinch, but because Masquerade is a fiend with 2500 attack, so worst comes to worst, Branded High Spirits discard Edgem Chain, send Masquerade to the grave, add Kit, and you can get your plays going that way. Triple Fallen of Albaz and triple Albion. You need these as your key Branded High Spirits targets. The ideal Branded High Spirits play is the High Spirits pitch one of these two, and Albion is basically it's basically just 6 copies of Albaz, because when you dump this to the grave, you just use its effect to dump the shuffle Albion back and then put the Albaz in grave, and that's the same as just having the Albaz in grave itself. Double Alibur, obviously that's all we can run. Double Mercurier, one for your combo to dump with Branded Fusion, and the second one is to just search as a disruption. Spriggan's Kit, 2 Spriggan's Kit because I didn't want to go to 41 and put 3, but this card's pretty nice, and it's a beast, so that means you can use, this is also an alternate material you can use to make Rinbrum with. The 1 ad libitum, 2 Polys since Patchwork is limited, Foolish for Tragedy, Goldsark for Tragedy and Mercurier, triple Allure for Mercurier, Tragedy, and you can just freely banish parts of your Edgem Chain and your Fallen Valbas and Albions and all that stuff. Branded White for the combo, Branded Fusion. Most of the time, I'm gonna say this right now, you're gonna be dumping Branded Fusion off Verte ideally. You don't want to activate Branded Fusion hard activated unless your hand's really weird. Branded Lost, double Branded Opening, Branded and High Spirits, this is the most important part of the deck, and Branded Red to search off Albion. Brand Banishment because, you know, everything's light or dark if there's not enough people playing light decks, so this card is always live, which is why I always advise if you can avoid making Masquerade turn 1, because Masquerade is your main banishment target, because you're going to revive a Tragedy or an Alibur, and then you just fuse off your opponent's monster, banishing it, and making a Masquerade. 1 Retribution, and then 3 of these are flex slots. This could be anything. You could put Psycho Reader, you could put like Crow, you can put Forbidden Droplets. I think Forbidden Droplets might even be better because it's more reliable against the Heralds you're going to face. And extra deck. So the things you need are Verte Anaconda, probably 2 Chimera, Rinbrum, the Mirror Jades, Masquerades, and the Albions. And Brigand, 1 Brigand, and 1 Dragostapelia. The flex spots are the 2nd Dragostapelia, the Orbital Furious Dragon, the Sprind, and the Alba Linatusi. This is just in case, I don't know, you play against dragons, I suppose. Orbital Furious Dragon, it comes up way less often now because there's no Libellion, so the only times you really make this are when you have multiple Albaz and Albion in hand, which is like, and obviously you don't even, a lot of those times you have other things to do with them, so you don't want to make Orbital Furious Dragon, but this is nice because it's a quick play pop, and if you have Brand Opening Grave, it's free, since you can just banish Brand Opening instead of destroying your own monster. And then you can use this again the next turn, it's pretty nice. And yeah, one thing to note is you don't want to blind use Albion in this kind of build. In fact, most of the time you are not using Albion's draw effect. You are actually either ditching it for Brand High Spirits to get an Albaz engrave and stuff like that, and then also don't auto send Retribution. Because Albaz is more important in this build because of stuff like Brand and White, you absolutely need to consider if you want to send Fallen Albaz to grave instead of Retribution. Because Retribution is also a good interruption to search, because every time you activate Brand High Spirits, you have multiple Albaz fusions in grave to make Retribution live. So yeah, this isn't like just an auto, you see Albion, you activate, dump Retribution, draw a card. No, you have to look at your hand and think about it and whether you can afford to, because you want this as the Albaz name. You want to think of this as more copies of Albaz, and Albaz in hand is more, the expected value of having Albaz in hand is more valuable than having a random card in deck that you don't know what you're gonna get with it. So enough rambling now. Onto the combo lines and how you want to be playing this deck. Alright, cool. This hand showcases perfectly the ideal line we're trying to do with this deck. And it's not going to involve activating Brand and Fusion. And in fact, when you see this hand, you might be thinking, what are we doing with Brand? Oh, and my answer to you is nothing. Okay. So you actually get into Foolish Burial to dump Tragedy, and Tragedy will add us Alibur this way. Then you Alibur, and you are not adding Brand and Fusion, you are adding Brand and High Spirits. Next, use your Gold Sark to banish a Mercurier from deck. And then Mercurier will activate and will add Fallen of Albaz to hand. This is what you want. You want Brandon's High Spirits with access to a Fallen of Albaz. So activate High Spirits, pitch the Albaz, and send Albion to grave. This will add Kit to our hand. Now, a lot of you, if you've seen my videos on Brandon in High Spirits, this is the exact same combo as there. So activate Springen's Kit. Because there's an Albaz fusion in grave, you can special summon it. Use its effect. let's add a Branded in white. And we'll just put back the banishment because we can get that later. Now, you make Verte. Yes, you make Verte as this is going to be your main line that you want to accomplish. You want to make Verte more than you want to go through Branded Fusion, if possible. Next, use Branded white. You have a choice of the matter. Although, if for example, if we kept the banishment in hand, we could just banish the Albion and the Fallen of Albaz Engrave, and make Borrelo's Furious Dragon. However, usually what you want to do is make Rinbrum the Striking Dragon, banishing Fallen of Albaz and the Kid Engrave. Next, you're going to use Verte. Send your one-off Branded Fusion to the deck, from the deck, to make a Mirror Jade using Verte Anaconda and a Fallen of Albaz. So now you have Mirror Jade and Rinbrum, and this is the most common way you're gonna be making Mirror Jade in this event because we don't have Albion or Lubellion, so Verte is gonna satisfy the material for it a lot of the time. Then we already have Brand Red, so we can set the Brand Red. We can set the Brand Opening, I suppose. End phase. Activate Mirror Jade's effect. Dump Brigand the Glory Dragon. Negate it with Rinbrum. And this will keep our Mirror Jade refreshed for next turn, and we get the extra Brigand the Glory Dragon search to add the Mercury to hand for a negate. Then resolve Albion, and that Branded Banishment we put back earlier with Kid, we can just put it right back on the field. So, this line, without needing to use Lubellion, Branded Fusion, or even Albion for anything other than a dump off Branded High Spirits, you end on basically just a full standard Branded Despia board. Mirror Jade, Rinbrum, set off Albion, and a Mercurial Surge, 4 interruptions plus 2 extra cards in hand. So this is what you're ideally going through. Branded Fusion is not your main goal. So this hand is sort of just to psychologically enforce how you want to play this deck, this event, when going first. Okay, you have double kit, you have this Branded Fusion in your hand just staring at you. Okay? Okay. What you're gonna do is you're gonna brand High Spirits, dump the kit, dump the Brigand. Yes. Add Fallen of Albaz to hand. You're gonna activate Kit. The special summon Kit. You're gonna add Branded in white. You're gonna put this fucking Branded Fusion. Get this garbage out of here. This Cheeks card. To get that out of your hand. Go away. Normal summon the Fallen of Albaz. Go into Verte. Make Verte. Activate Branded in white. You know this line. Make Rinbrum. Kit and Albaz. Verte effect. Put that Branded Fusion you put back, send that shit to the grave. And make your Mirror Jade that way. And negate your activate Mirror Jade and negate it with Rinbrum. And that'll refresh your Mirror Jade for next turn, and then set your last card, end phase. Get your Mercurial, and get your Albion set. Let's add up. Let's set Solemn Warning because Solemn Warning is live now too. 2 Alabaster Fusions and Great Beams to turn into the deck to activate Retribution. So that Brand Fusion does way more for you in your deck than it does in your hand. So just keep that in mind. That when you're going first and you're setting up your board, remember Brand Fusion Plan B. So I know I spent a lot of time shitting on Brand Fusion in this build, but it actually has a lot of utility, except the thing is a lot of that utility is not when you're making a board and going first, it's when you're going second and playing into boards. Because Brand Fusion for Rinbrum is actually really devastating, because if they have any extra monster out, the Rinbrum is just checks that. It's decently big, 2500, and it negates any extra deck monsters when they use their effect and threatens to put it back. So that's really huge for playing in the boards, and then you combine that with the Patchwork engine with polys and untargetable chimeras that you can chain block. That's where that's why again that we're not running too much non-engine, because I believe that this deck's engine is strong enough in this kind of event, especially if you're just facing a bunch of light decks, to be able to just play through boards. So yeah. Well, this is gonna be the main deck I'm playing. I'm also gonna do more content on other builds, specifically focusing on budget builds that you can play for this event, because obviously it's an event. Everyone wants the events for the gem. So if you want to get in, get out for cheap, I got you.